Hello and welcome, everyone. Give it just a second to make sure that it is kicked on and live. It says it is, so I think we're good to go. All right, so hi, I am Jackie Lee, and I am coming to you live to give you some information about meditating. For those of us that have realized we've been in situations where we are experiencing more solitude than ever before, this just seemed like a pretty good time to bring forth a little bit more information on how to handle that solitude. If you've never heard of me before or watched my videos on my YouTube channel, I'll tell you a little bit about myself. I started teaching yoga and meditation back in 2009. I started writing and recording guided meditations in 2010, and I was published in 2012 with Mind Valley. It is a passion. I absolutely love being able to write and record and share opportunities for rest and relaxation, for self healing, building self awareness, the ability to tap into your highest potential. Those are the things that always stand out when it comes down to why I like to introduce meditation for people. So what we realize is when we are having times of solitude, these are times that we have an opportunity to go in. We have an opportunity to create self-reflection and inner awareness. For some people, this can be an adventure. It's like, woohoo, I get to go inside and get to know myself, figure out who I am and what my passions are, right? And for some people, it can be absolutely terrifying. And wherever you lie on that, whether it's an adventure or whether it's terrifying, know that you're not the only one. All right. We realize that there are parts of our identity that are not in alignment with what we really want to be, maybe what our desires, our dreams are. We realize that there are things in our life that are familiar that maybe need to be unfamiliar because they don't line up with who we really want to be, and vice versa, right? So we're being called to transform. We are being called to step into our highest potential of ourselves that maybe for some of you, you never even met that person before. It means that we need to make room for these unfamiliar things that are in our highest good to actually have space in our lives. And we need to be able to transition and release um, the things that we've been holding on to, the identities that we've been holding on to, be able to forgive ourselves for some of those identities so that we can believe that we can leave behind them and move forward into whatever we're being called to change and transition and reprogram. I love that word, reprogram our mindset so that we can actually move into the flow and the ease of where we're being called to go. And when I say when we're where we're being called, it's not where other people might be calling us. Sometimes it's where other people are calling you, but it might be where you're calling yourself. It's like you just have an inner deep knowing that you're not where you really want to be. And meditation is a way to actually seek that out. It's a place that you can go in order to find that because when we are opening up our communication within ourselves, we realize that there are options, and those options can find you when you're meditating. All you have to do is try. I always tell people there's no way to do it wrong because a meditation practice is a practice. It's never meant to be a perfection. You're always practicing, expanding, growing, changing, transforming, realizing, understanding, allowing, receiving. It's an entire setup of information that is available to you every single time that you meditate. Yeah, that's meditation. So for those of you that are brand new to meditation, if you are already doing a form of prayer, connecting with your what you would call creator, source, God, then that is one form of communication that is very similar to meditation. Okay. If you're not into prayer, then you can also think of meditation as being a concept of having a conversation with your higher self, with your spirit, with your soul. Okay. What does meditation even mean? Well, it means that you're actually bringing your awareness, your conscious awareness, into one thought at a time. A lot of people will reflect on one pointedness, which we are going to do that tonight, actually. But we reflect on something like just the breath, or maybe just an object, or a sound, or a color, or a word, or another visualization. Because what this does is it calms the mind, and that calms the chatter, which is what we're going to talk about too in a little bit. Why is meditation popular? That's another question that I get. Because it's popular because it's safe. I don't know anybody that's gotten hurt meditating. I don't think so. um, but yeah, it's safe, it's effective. You get to know firsthand the benefits of it. You don't experience it through somebody else, you experience it for yourself. Um, what are some of the benefits? That's another huge question that I get about meditation. Well, it's proven to lower blood pressure. It creates better sleeping habits, mental clarity, realizing again your true potential, um, balancing emotions. All right. So all of those types of things, those are just a few of the benefits that I know that people talk about more often than not. But if you ever ask yourself, like, who am I? What am I capable of? Um, and then how do I make that happen? These are the types of questions that cannot be answered in the external. A lot of the external wants to answer those questions, and sometimes we look at the external to answer those questions, but honestly, it's inside. These are internal questions that you really ought to be asking yourself, not looking at your friends and your neighbors and your family. It's coming from in, because their perception of who you are and what you're capable of is only their interpretation. And their interpretation has no idea what your soul is capable of, or what your soul contracts have brought into this planet for this lifetime. So meditation is what takes you in. All right. Um, Sometimes what happens in meditation, where I feel people also kind of get hung up, is they're really worried about the past, or they're worried about the future. And this can be a real waste of your energy and your time when you are focused on these types of things. And so meditation is great because it helps bring you into the awareness of the now, bring you into the awareness of being present right here and right now. Another question that I get is this for me? Is meditation for me? Things that you could ask yourself would be, is your job stressful? Do you have trouble sleeping? Do you struggle with addictions or phobias? Do you have a mindless chatter that goes on? Do you carry burdens? Do you want to focus better in your job or in sports, maybe? Do you have goals that you want to reach and you're struggling? Do you not feel good about yourself? These are just some of the questions that if you ask yourself those questions, then meditation can definitely be a form, a technique that can help bring you into that inner awareness, so you can start to see some of the answers to these things that you're actually questioning. Okay. Let's see how. That's the next question, how to meditate. The way that I like to start when I'm teaching people brand new to meditation is about the two mindsets. There are two distinct mindsets that are running simultaneously in the mind at the same time. One is called what a lot of people call the ego mindset, or the narrator. It is everything that your five senses take in. it never stops talking. it it doesn't stop talking because it wants a job. It wants to be heard and it wants to be right. It's always in survival mode. It's basically working off of your survival instincts. And it's the one that I like to describe as if you walk into a grocery store, it's the voice in your head that goes, the pizza's over here, the peanut butter's over there, the fruit's over there, the vegetables are there. It's like that voice in your head that's just constantly narrating every single thing that you take in, but it's also telling you the past and the future that it doesn't even know yet. That's why, again, why it's constantly talking. It's always in motion. And the other mindset is your true mind. It's your spirit, it's your higher self. And it's going to be a lot more quiet. It's not as loud, it's not chattering. It's actually very, very minute. Sometimes it can be really quiet. It's usually going to be very calm. It only speaks truth. So it's going to be a phrase or it's going to be a word. It'll be like, stop, go, wait, halt, run, take the umbrella, don't take the umbrella. It's things like that that your higher self is going to share for it. It's giving you honest, true statements based off of the present time. Okay. And again, they are both running, they're capable of running simultaneously. But what we do in meditation is we become aware of that narrated mindset. We become aware of its running. Become aware of its habits, of the words that it uses, because it doesn't care about your emotions. It doesn't care how you feel. It's just telling you what its default is. This is what happened before, so that's probably what's going to happen again, or what you think about. It's analyzing everything. Okay, that's what I call the chatter of the mind. And we want to calm that chatter, because the more you get into your meditation practice, what happens is you become the observer of all of that. And then that chatter starts to get a lot less. And all of a sudden you realize that your true mind is the one that's the constant. It's the one that you can focus your awareness on, because there's answers, there's inspiration, there's wisdom in the true mind, where the ego narrated mindset, again, is just giving you facts. It's just giving you information, lots of information from the past. Okay, and bringing it into your now moment. All right. Disconnecting, yes. So disconnecting from the ego mindset, becoming the observer. When we become the observer, we also realize that we are not our thoughts, feelings, and emotions. And I do have people that kind of argue with that at the beginning, until I give them this, this example. If you think that you are your thoughts, feelings, your emotions, and that they define you, that you can't step out of them once you're in them, then I want you to think about this. Say that you have a day that you feel overwhelmed, depressed, very sad, unmotivated, and you feel that intensely. And all of a sudden the phone rings, and you pick up the phone, and it's your most favorite person in the world on the other end, and they tell you the best news you could possibly imagine. Your mood is going to change instantly. Instantly. That is why your thoughts, feelings, and emotions don't define you, because in an instant, something new can come in and it can shift it completely. So I want you to keep that in your perspective. Okay. It's going to change things for you by knowing that. So what we want to do is we want to reprogram the mind, not to think about the fact of being your thoughts, feelings, and emotions. We wanted to reprogram it into, we're the observer of all of that. We want to be aware of observing what the thoughts, feelings, and emotions are, and asking ourselves, is there something that I can do about it at the time? Is it even mine? Is this something that I should even be dealing with or thinking about right now? Because when you're observing it, you can actually make a conscious decision to step out of it. right? We default constantly as humans, conditioned humans, let me say that, into what is familiar. But here's the thing, sometimes what's familiar isn't what's in our best interest, and it actually needs to be reprogrammed into something that's unfamiliar. Okay? There are things that are unfamiliar that then need to be familiar, right? Like being the observer. If you're not the observer and that's what's familiar, then you want to shift that. You want to shift those places, basically. And becoming the observer, allowing you to become your pure, true potential so that you can actually start to see how that you are the creator of your own reality that you really want. All right, let's talk about ideal times to meditate. So I would say when you wake up or right before you go to bed. For some people, in the shower is a good time to meditate. If you're riding on the way to work or school, not driving, um, taking a lunch break, something like that. And um, and don't worry about how much time, because especially when you just start out meditating, just take a minute, take 60 seconds. You're going to know as you progress into your meditation practice, you're going to know how to expand that when you're ready. And sometimes what will happen is you'll go into meditation one day and you're like, "Oh my gosh, the time just flew right by." But in the beginning, just take your time, be patient with yourself. Remember, it's a practice, not a perfection. All right, let's talk about how we actually meditate. There are a lot of common ways that we are probably already meditating that you might not even be aware of. If you take long walks in nature, that is very meditative. If you take smoke breaks and you don't smoke, if you spend time in the bathroom for no reason, if you drive a car somewhere where you have nowhere to be, if you like pulling weeds or washing dishes, okay, these are just some forms of meditative time that we don't sometimes realize that we're doing because we just need to take a break. We need to pause. We need to disconnect. We need to detach, right? Um, this is what I call self love and self care. And don't poo poo that, you know? Self love and self care is what allows you to be the best version of yourself so that you can then be self serving to others. But if you don't have it within you, you're not going to be at your best giving to someone else. So I'm here to tell you that this self care time, this learning how to meditate, is priceless. This is something that is going to help you in so many ways to step into that highest potential so that you can be who you want to be, go where you want to go, and be able to help whoever you want to help and not be drained and depleted. Okay, so that is the information about that. We are going to talk now about a specific type of meditation. So remember how I mentioned the one pointed awareness where you're thinking about one particular object. So we're actually going to do that tonight. I'm going to hold something up where I'm going to give you 1 minute to meditate on it. We're going to do it 3 different times. So it's going to be 3 different minutes of meditation. The first time I'm going to have you do it alone because I want you to see what it's like between the 3 different times. So you're going to do it alone the first time. The second time I'm going to guide you through it. And then the third time you're going to do it on your own again. Just going to hold up a little object that I happen to have so that you can have something to actually focus on. And I'm also going to set my timer so that I don't hold you too long. Okay. All right, let me get my timer going. Make sure all this stuff is off. Okay. All right, remember, this is just one pointed awareness. This is just a nice way to kind of get to know yourself and what it's like to meditate. This is a little gnome. I'll try to get him out of the light. Let me find where his best place is going to be. Nope. We're just going to hold on to him right here. Okay. All right, you guys, we're looking at little Mr. Gnome guy for 1 minute and go. Okay. 1 minute. How'd that feel? Was it like the longest minute ever for some of you? Was it hard? Was it complicated? These are the things I want you to ask yourself. Was it easy to focus on him? Okay. Were you able to keep your awareness within him? And if not, did it jump off or wander off? And if so, how many times? Do you notice how many times it did that? Or maybe how long it took you to come back where you're like, oh, geez, I went off somewhere else. Come back to Mr. Gnome, right? These are common questions that we ask ourselves when we first start learning how to meditate. We're going to do it again. Okay, but this time I'm going to guide you through and you're going to see a difference. Okay. All right. So here we go. 1 more minute. All right, I want you to just bring your awareness into Mr. Gnome, looking at his red hat, looking at his white hair, his blue jacket, his black belt, awareness of his black boots, and the green buckle on his belt. Bring awareness now into his eyes, into the fact that you can see one eye really, really well, but the other eye is blinded by the light, right? The look on his face, the fact that his hands are in his pockets, that he is standing upon a rock. Take a deep breath in and exhale. Okay, that was one. So how did that one go? It's different when you have a guide. When you're not used to meditating and you have a guide, it's like, oh, hold the phone, that worked better, right? Because again, the ego mindset, that narrator wants a job. It needs something to think about. So when I'm guiding you, I'm giving you something to think about. Ask yourself again, did it go faster? Did it go slower? Did your mind wander off? And if so, how many times? How long, if it wandered off, did it take to pull back to him or my voice or something like that, right? These are the things to ask yourself. We're going to do it one more time. You're going to do it again without me talking, but maybe think about the things that I was talking so you can help yourself this time. Okay, you're back, guys. Ready? Here we go. And begin. Okay. All right. How'd it go? Better? Remember, not a perfection. We're always practicing, always expanding, learning, growing, changing, getting new perspectives every single time we meditate. Okay. I hope that brought in a new perspective for you, though, that you can see the difference between trying to meditate on your own and not think. Because I get some people that are like, am I supposed to think about just Mr. Gnome Guy? Because if I'm thinking about Mr. Gnome Guy and my mind goes off and then I come back, then what do I think about Mr. Gnome Guy? But when we're talking about one thought at a time, it's not one guy, one object at a time, it's one thought at a time. That's why I was like blue, red, black, green, white, right? The rock. I'm taking you into one thing at a time. That's meditation, one thought at a time. When you know that your mind goes off, when you practice meditation, you find that you don't jump off and wander as much. And you also find that the time it takes for you to realize that you left and bring it back gets shorter. Okay? All right. So let's talk about what I'm going to be doing starting this coming Sunday. I'm going to be doing an online workshop that's a 3-part series. It'll be the 17th, 24th, and 31st. This is a series that's going to be on Sundays at 1 p.m. Alaska time. So you can check your time zone if you're from somewhere else. And I want to break down and go deeper into these techniques of meditation because using a one-pointed awareness where you're doing objects is just one form. I'm going to separate it out to where we're going to start with the body scan, where you learn how to bring your consciousness through the whole body. It is incredibly relaxing. This is the best technique when people need help sleeping. Okay. The second week on the 24th, we're going to go into the awareness of mind rotation. It's going through images. And when we go through images, we also go through opposites. And when we do that, we're working the left and the right hemisphere of the mind, and we actually bring them into better balance. That's going to be week 2. Week 3, we're going to go on the 31st, we're going to go into the actual full guided meditation. And going through all of these, I'll be bringing in a few more techniques that you can actually use. We're going to be looking at the benefits of what each one of those can do, how your body responds to that, how your awareness and consciousness opens and expands because of these techniques, and then questions and stuff that you can ask yourself as you are doing it. I usually encourage people when you're doing this series of the meditation to do it every single night, and it can be done in like 10 or 15 minutes. It's actually pretty short, and so you can. And I said night, but I meant every day. Like it doesn't matter what time of day that you do it. Again, whatever is ideal for you. But it's something that if you do it every single day, and then we'll meet on Sunday and we'll talk about it. And if you have questions, you can ask questions. It'll be a live thing, but it'll also be recorded. So no matter whether you pay for it, you're still getting the benefit of the class because you can watch it at your own time. So so that's what I'm going to be offering. It's $45. You can sign up for that under Learn to Meditate at the store on my website, which is clearvibration.com. And let me see if there's anything else I wanted to share with you before I let you guys go. No, that was it. Okay, good deal. All right, well, I hope that you found this inspirational, helpful, and insightful, especially for those of you that are learning to meditate. Meditation is great for everybody. I usually start teaching kids from ages 10 and 12 on up. So I look forward to hopefully working with you guys. If you have any questions in the meantime, don't hesitate to email me at jackie@clearvibration.com. Other than that, until next time, all right, have a great day. Take care. Bye.